James?
Yes, hi.
Hello, everyone. This is James E. Hibbard. With me is my guest today on Gigi and the 561 podcast. So welcome to all of you, as well as my guests. I'm very honored to have this guest today. How are things in Vancouver today, James?
In Vancouver, this time of year, it's 99% gray. Clouded over, raining. This is what our winter is like in Vancouver proper. I mean, very close to us. Very close to us. A lot of snow. Very close.
Oh.
But at this level, it's if it snows at all here, then it's gone by the afternoon because the rain comes and melts it away. But it's cold and it's gray.
Well, you know, we're just so spoiled that when it gets to be 60 here in the Palm Beaches, like, I'm cold. I need a sweater.
I understand, sure.
I know. For those who may know your name, I'm going to talk about you for just a second. The man on the podcast today, if you have ever seen movies with Elvis Presley, with Anne Margaret, with at least half of the Rat Pack, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, you have seen this man that's on the phone with me today. Hence, I am just and let me just say too, you have worked with Bob Fosse, with Gene Kelly. Oh, James, wow! But the talent within your domicile, under the roof between you and your wife, how do you contain all that talent under that one roof? I just can't imagine.
Well, it's worked out beautifully. I mean, my wife and I, we've been married since 1964. And
congratulations!
Thank you. And it's that's actually an unusual thing today to be married that long, but especially in this business. But it's worked out very well for us, and we have a beautiful family. And we have two children. My daughter, Gianna, and my son, Jason. And,
beautiful names.
And we're all close. We're within 15 minutes of each other.
Oh, that's very fortunate, especially today and where we are right now. Let me just jump in real quick and say that James' wife is well known in her own right. Her name is Charlene Brandolini, and she is, correct me if I'm wrong here, James, but she is in the British Columbia Entertainment Hall of Fame. Is that right?
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she was when I met her. I told you in 1964, and I've been brought up from Los Angeles to do West Side Story at the Queen Elizabeth Theater, which is a big theater, and met her in that show, and she played Rosalia, which is a comic role for the Sharks, and also sang the ballet Somewhere. And we met, and then with that very same year, we were married.
Love at first sight, sounds like. Now, you were born in Oregon, but you grew up in Idaho, but then you lived in Hollywood, and then from Hollywood you moved to Vancouver, where then you stayed. Yes,
exactly. Yeah. I've spent most of my young life in logging camps in Idaho. My dad was a logger, and it was a really interesting beginning because my mother loved movie musicals. So our entertainment was she would take us to a theater in Boise, Idaho, and would watch movie musicals and then go back home again. And we were watching a film called It's Always Fair Weather, and it was with Gene Kelly and Michael Kidd. And she said, when we came out of the theater, and I was only eight years old, so when we came out of the theater, I was trying to imitate Gene Kelly and dancing down the street. So she thought I would like dance lessons. So I started taking dance lessons at 8 years old in Boise, Idaho. But I had to, in order to have my lessons, it was only on the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, because I was living in a logging camp for the rest of the week.
Oh.
And so as my father and my grandfather pulled a couple of logs into our trailer area and put some wood planks between them, and that was my dance floor in the logging camp in the woods, and I would tap dance
that
under
is great.
the trees.
What wonderful support from your parents. But you've been dancing professionally since you were 17. That's young.
Younger than that, since I was 14 and a half. I was 14 when I did my first professional job. And that was in L.A., and I sang and danced with the Lennon Sisters, who used to be on Lawrence Welk's show.
Oh, yeah, I remember them. Mm-hmm.
And it was on a TV series, Jack Benny's Shower of Stars, and I sang and danced with them. And it was my first job, and my teacher at the time was Gene Nelson, who was the star of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And he was my tap and jazz teacher, and he sent me to CBS to audition for his ex-wife, Miriam Nelson, who was choreographing. And that's how I got my first job.
Now, he went on, did he not, to be an orchestra leader? Am I thinking about the right person there, Gene Nelson, or was he always a dancer?
Oh, always the singer-dancer.
Okay.
He became a director, and I in later years I worked for him in 2 films. One was a Warner Brothers film called The Cool Ones, and also then one of the Elvis films I did, Elvis Presley films, called Kissing Cousins. He directed that one, and I was dancing in that one.
I want to get later into, I know you are doing a book. You've been working on your autobiography for 3 years, and I really encourage that. I think that's so great to capture these great stories, because you really have, I mean, your experience, your performance experience sheet goes on. Do you remember the computers back in the day that had that paper that kind of had holes on each side, and it would just roll, so it would just go for miles. It would just keep coming through the printer, and that's your performance experience sheet. It's people, I can't even tell you this man, but his experience. You, though, James, are the kind of dancer that stands out. I mean, when it came out, Viva Las Vegas, there's a scene that you're on the stage. It's supposed to be the University of Nevada, and there's a sawhorse, and Elvis sits on it, and Margaret is, and they're singing. It's a stunning scene, the whole thing. But you are part of that scene, and you're just one of those dancers that always stands out. And I'm the kind of person that always notices that. So what a great experience that you've had working with these people, these iconic people, and in these films. Another one that I thought was really fun. The movie is called Marriage on the Rocks, and there's a party scene where it has Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra and Deborah Carr. Trini Lopez is singing, and you guys are dancing, and it's such a fun scene. I wanted to be in that scene too, because it just looked like so much fun.
Well, it was a typical go-go, 60s club, a go-go dancing club, and there was the clubs used to have cages, and there were dancers inside these cages hanging. And in this particular one, Nancy Sinatra was dancing in this cage, and the director didn't know the dances of the 60s, like the swim and the jerk and the pony and all those dances. And so he came to us on a break and asked if anybody knew how to do those things. And, of course, I raised my hand because I just finished choreographing a television series with nothing but that kind of dancing. And on the way to the set, he said, I asked him what he wanted me to do, and he said, I want you to teach Frank Sinatra how to do the swim. So I did. I taught him how to do the swim. I taught him how to do the version of the monkey, and sort of a boogaloo type move. And
wow.
He dances in the cage with his daughter, and Dean Martin and Deborah Carr and I are in the club watching them dance. And when the camera was on Frank and Nancy, I was doing the dance moves so he could follow me. So it was great fun. Yeah.
Well,
but he was great. He loved doing it. He was surprised that he could do it. You know. But
well, you've really never stopped working. I mean, right now you are teaching. You're teaching at a university. You're teaching jazz. You're teaching theater production. Let's talk about that a little bit. The up-and-coming kids, are they as motivated? I mean, you've had such a long career. Are they as dedicated to their craft?
Oh, well, it's all different levels of commitment. But there are some phenomenal dancers here in Canada, and people involved in theater. It's a big thing. I put it this way: when I came here and I came to live here, there was nothing happening, and there were, in terms of television or so. And I was used to doing a lot of television and movies and stuff. So I started teaching, giving stretch and jumping classes to professional ice skaters, because I had choreographed a Peggy Funding special at Sun Valley, where I had to, and anyway, it was very close. Learning how to jump and turn on the floor is the same on the ice. It's just you have a much more of an expansive space. But anyway, I taught them, and then one day, Wolfman Jack TV series came here, and so two of the dancers in town who were already hired to be on the TV series just spoke about me to the choreographer, who was turned out to be a good friend of mine from L.A. So his name was Andre Tailleur. So when he heard that I was here, he brought me in to assist him in the choreography and dance on it. And then he had to leave and because of health issues, to go back home. So I finished choreographing that series. And from then on, I just started doing TV series after TV series after TV series after movies and stuff. And it just started growing and growing and growing. And then there came a time when I was giving more energy to teaching. And then once a year I would perform, well, not once a year, but on TAP, there's a thing called TAP Day, International TAP Day. And it's celebrated all over the world, different cities and towns. And it honors Bill Robinson Bojangles' birthday. So people get together and do performances, right? Schools join, and so I've been doing that for quite some time. And then I wasn't doing a lot of film or TV. Then all of a sudden, recently, starting 3 years ago, I did a TV show with a young dancer who now had become like one of the major working choreographers in the business. And he was doing a lot of work, and literally, when he brought me in to dancing these films, since he brought me back to do television and movies, I've done 8 movies in the last 3 years, and many more TV shows where I'm dancing, and I'm dancing with babies that are half my age and younger. So that's so it's a real honor. I mean, it was a great thrill for me, because I'm now 77 years old. So it's if you have, I'm going to say, if you have the spirit, if your spirit stays young and alive, you can go as long as you physically can do it.
Mm-hmm. I believe that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if the passion is there. Yeah.
Yeah, and your body holds up, right?
Right. Yeah.
So those two things have to be together, And fortunately, I've been blessed with that ability. So I'm still dancing, and it's during the COVID thing. Of course, everything stopped.
Yeah.
But just before the COVID thing hit us, I did an episode on Julie and the Phantoms, new TV series, and I worked 2 or 3 times on Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. And so when they start up again, I'm going to be, I'm sure I'm going to dance again on those shows. And I have a recurring role on the Julie and the Phantoms TV series of The Janitor. So it's a really nice thing. And that's with Kenny Ortega. And the choreographer I was talking about earlier that we've been working with is Paul Becker. And so it's amazing. You know, for me, and my career is still going strong, and it's, I'm blessed, you know, absolutely blessed.
I have to tell you that I have seen a clip of you on Julie and the Phantom as the janitor. And wow, I mean, you still, I mean, wow, just wow. I mean, and that's on Netflix, people. You can find that show on Netflix. I'm going to rattle off just a few other shows that you have appeared in, maybe and so forth, Muppet Christmas, and correct me if I'm wrong with any of these, James. Psych, Bye Bye Birdie, Freaky Friday, Descendants 3, Batman Beyond, and that is the tip. And people, I mean the tip of the iceberg. If you look this man up, James Hibbard. I want to go back to a hobby real quickly, or to a hobby. You are a river and stream fisherman. Do you still get a chance to do that?
Yes. Oh, there's several rivers right close to where I live here, and because I grew up. I told you in logging camps. I mean, in the primitive area of Idaho. So I was fishing and hunting all my earlier life. So my fishing is one of my absolute passions, and it's and I do it, and it probably is my church, you know, because when you go out in the woods and you're walking along this trail and the sunlight is through the trees across you, that's my church.
Oh, that sounds great. Sounds great. Now you have 2 cats. Oh, I'm sorry. And you do it?
I do have 2 cats. Yeah, we just 8 months ago got them. We hadn't planned on getting the cats, but my granddaughter Havana, brought it to the 2 sister cats as a gift.
Well, you have to take it if your granddaughter. I mean, you know.
And they are absolutely sensational cats.
And it's Miss Marple. I love the names. Miss Marple is one, and I love this one. I love it. Dr. Foxy Watson. I mean, love the names.
And they both fit their names perfectly.
Oh, love it. Now do tell us about your book. When can we look for that book?
Well,
the autobiography.
This week and the next week and the week after that, we're going to I'm approaching all publishers that I can possibly think of. Because of what I need now at this point is an advance to finish the book properly. Mm-hmm. And it's because I've got 18, 19, 20 chapters done. And so there's a lot of stuff that I've finished, and I've got a gazillion photographs that I can put in the book as well. And it's my people my dancers that worked for me in Los Angeles encouraged me to write it. This is 3 years ago, and they've been after me all this time. Dancers that you've seen, the dancers on Where the Action Is, the Dick Clark TV series.
Oh, of course.
I'm the one that put them together. I'm the one that hired them. So. Oh,
really? Oh.
Yeah. So that was my first TV series that I choreographed there for Dick Clark. And anyway, I've been working at it, and a great friend of mine who unfortunately just recently passed away, a great choreographer named David Winters, who was in the movie West Side Story, and he had written his book, and his book was called Tough Guys Do Dance, right?
Oh,
So
I love that title.
And it's out there. It was a bestseller when it first came out. It was as a bestseller for Amazon, and so anyway, I started to write my book then, and I was just thinking in my head, well, it'll be a great thing at least to leave for my family, my grandkids, something to read about me later on, But it turns out that there's a lot of interest in reading my story from a lot of people.
Yeah.
All my friends, and of course, down in LA, people I've worked with, and Kenny Ortega is going to write something about me, and Paul Becker and Ann Margaret is going to mention. And all these people are going to, do a little paragraph or whatever about working with me. And
now, will you spill the dirt? Will we get? I don't really mean dirt. I just mean inside stories, like do they know the behind the scenes, behind the curtain, any little secrets that you might share in your book? Will you, or is it just strictly, straightforward? Because we like those little. We just want to be on the inside sometimes, just a little bit, don't we?
Of course, and I have several stories like that.
Oh, good.
I mean,
good.
even working in the movie Hello, Dolly with Gene Kelly, and my audition that I went to for Bob Fosse, and there's some crazy things that have happened in my life, So they're all going to be in there.
I believe crazy. Crazy's good. I like that. I like crazy very much. You have had this huge resurgence. Your teaching tap. People can see you as the janitor, the recurring role on Julie and the Phantom on Netflix. I encourage people to do that. And you are out there on YouTube as well. There are some clips of you on YouTube, and we will all look forward to your autobiography. Have I missed anything important that my listeners need to know about you?
No, it's there's enough garbage happening out in the world all the time.
Yeah.
And you just the other thing I was blessed with in my life is that I've never given into passive or negative thinking, and I've always been positive, and I call myself a worker bee, and because that's what I did. I just went from job to job. And the interesting thing, a friend of mine who I danced in several films with, his name was Pete Menefee, and he became huge
fan of Pete Menefee. Oh yeah.
Well, he's one of my dearest friends, and I just talked to him the other day, and he. The last time we were in LA, we had dinner and with also Walter Painter, who's I worked with a lot, and Pete said to me, when God was giving out the jaded gene, you were homesick. And it meant he said, you've been the most positive person, he said, I think I've ever met in my life. And what it did for me when I was younger and working in LA and starting the business down there, I could dance. Of course I could dance, but my attitude set me apart, because directors and producers and people like that wanted me to be in their productions, because I would never, ever cause waves or create any friction whatsoever. And the positive attitude is obviously what they needed, right? So a lot of the work, sometimes you get a job and you may not be as good as another dancer, but you'll get the job because of your reputation of being positive and in that sense. And it's really important to keep your nose clean and to keep working hard, and working harder than you ever thought you would ever work. Because that's, as you get better and better and better and better at your craft, it doesn't get easier. It gets harder. But you just keep going.
And I think those are the lesson for young people coming up, no matter what your career path is. exactly
no matter what
you
they
just
do.
said.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
what you just said. And you know what, James? I think I'm really glad that we were kind of bringing this to a close and on this note, because when I launched this new year, shed what's been going on, start a new podcast. I've done so many, but this is like a new one. And I said, I want this to be different, and I want it to be positive. And as what you just said is exactly what comes through when you are on film. You perhaps can't see it as you're the person, but as a watcher, that is why, in my opinion, that you stand out, because that really does come through. Maybe your feet hurt, maybe your legs hurt, maybe your back, whatever, but you look like you're having fun, you look like you're enjoying, and your entire presence seems positive. And so that, and as a matter of fact, I started to say that at the beginning of the podcast, that was one reason when I invited you to, and I sent out would you do it? And then you so graciously agreed to do it, and that you took time, because I know you're busy. You have a very, very busy life. But I cannot thank you enough for being here today, and can't wait for the book. And promise me when your book comes out that you'll come back and talk about it on the podcast again.
Oh, that'd be fabulous. Of course.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. So thank you so much, James. And thank you, everyone, for listening today to James E. Hibbard. You need to look him up. Go. You have time. You know you do. You're in lockdown. Go watch some of the movies. See this man, because he is right there for you to see as this incredible dancer. Be sure to visit us on NorthPalmBeachLife.com. You know it's not just about North Palm Beach life. It's about life going on everywhere, and we appreciate you for visiting us, as well as our YouTube channel by the same name. Thank you again, James, for being on Gigi in the 561 so very much. Good luck with your book and whatever you do.
Oh,
everyone,
thank you for asking.
Oh, thank you again. And everyone, stay tuned.